Kiernan is a really a unique case because she was 6 when she started the show, and a little girl. I mean, just a really, first grader or second grader. I mean, just a little kid, and really learned everything on the job and on the fly, and learned from us. So I'm glad she turned out great, because that means inadvertently, I guess, we were all pretty good teachers. But she's a perfect example of keeping your ears open and your mouth shut too. I think she very much took it seriously. She had very good parents who also made sure that when she showed up to work, she was prepared and she was respectful and present. She's and as she's grown up, she's 16 years old now. The line is that she's been on the show longer than she hasn't been on the show at this point in her life, and it's true. It's very strange. It has to be an incredibly strange, thing to be as a young woman, to have this be your childhood, basically. But she's handled it with a maturity that's far beyond her years. And I think the example that you cite is a perfect example of that, because what Kiernan has, which a lot of actors don't have, is the ability to be very still and very trust herself, her young self, that what's coming across can come across without words. And I think that that's earned in many ways through history of sitting with characters, not only playing them but also watching them. I think as you're an audience member, you look at Jon Draper not saying anything, and you're able to project a world of emotions and of thoughts, when in fact I just might be sitting there thinking, I wonder what are we doing this weekend? Whatever. But from a viewer standpoint, it's there's a lot there because you've invested a lot in this character, and I think that too is the case with Sally. I think a lot of the audience looks at Sally because they identify with Sally and being a child in that household and in that world. And I think Kiernan has learned, through being on the set and around us, that silence sometimes speaks volumes. And that was a perfect example of that connection. And I think she's a lovely young lady, and has her mom and dad are great, and I'm very protective of her as well. So it was a very cool moment. I'm glad it was highlighted in the show, because it's an important moment for Dawn, and I think for Sally as well.
Other than through just osmosis of keeping her mouth shut and watching, you taught theater to kids. Mm-hmm. Did you ever actually give her any advice?
Sure. I think especially when we would have guest directors and people that weren't as comfortable on set, I would certainly step in, and it was never anything specific. Say it this way or do that this way or whatever. Just mostly like things to think about for her. She's wildly intelligent. She's an incredibly intelligent kid, and she doesn't need much. You don't have to spell it out for her. She intuits a lot of what she needs for the role and for the scene, and sometimes it's about maybe go more this way than that way, but she's very intuitive and very, very intelligent.